everyone, welcome on a new episode of Mouse Talk, and today I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to learn anything, especially if you're starting a new job or a new career. This video might be really helpful. If you're new to this channel, Mouse Talk is the place where you can learn anything you want about entrepreneurship. You have tons of interviews and tips to help you grow your business. So let's go. So I want to start this episode by sharing with you a quote that I really like of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "Live as if you were to die tomorrow and learn as if you were to live forever." Because I do believe that a learning is an ongoing process and that you can learn anything you really want. So to give you a bit of context, I have started a new job now in London as a business developer for a startup in the construction industry, and I am not from that industry at all. I am more a communication and marketing person. So learning from the construction industry has been really tough, but I do believe that if you really want to learn something and you're really curious about it, you can learn anything. So today I'm going to give you those 10 tips for you to help you learn anything. Let's go. So tip number 1 is actually to be curious and motivated. So you need to find a purpose in learning. If you're just learning to learn, well, you're never really gonna process and this information. You really need to know why you're learning. So for me, for example, moving to another country, well, I'm learning because this is my new job and I really want to grow. I'm doing this job because it's a first step of the professional life in London. So I do find it really interesting to kind of dive in this new industry. So you need to know what is your purpose and what is your motivation in learning something new. If you don't have this motivation, well, I guess you're going to really be frustrated and you're just going to give up. So find your motivation. Tip number 2. Understand the core principles before diving in the details. So this is really something important. Before you dive in the details of learning something new, you should understand the big picture of it. So to give you an example, in the construction industry, before diving in details of what are the tools they're using, what are the projects, you need to understand what is each actor doing and the role they're playing in the construction industry process of, for example, making a deal. And this is actually really valuable because once you understand the big picture, then you can dive in the details. If you do the contrary, meaning if you dive in the details before understanding the big picture, you will be frustrated because you will be like, oh, I don't understand this, or what is the link between this and this person? So try to find the big picture, take a bit of step back from it, understand the big picture, and then dive in the details. That will change you a lot. Tip number 3. Take notes of everything. So this is really something important. I mean, whether you're a person that takes notes on a computer, whether you prefer handwritten notes, whatever works for you, take notes of everything. It's really important because your memory is short. So if you kind of just in a meeting and you're just trying to process everything that has been said, you will lose most of the information. So write down everything and don't just put notes in a note folder like we would do, like everyone would do, but try to kind of process those notes. So for example, what I do is that after a meeting, I take notes and then I look back at my notes and I kind of write a summary of what I understood from that meeting and what is the next step we should take from that meeting. So don't just put your notes in a note folder, process your notes and write everything down because that will really help you in your learning journey. Tip number 4, meet a lot of people in the industry. Because obviously when you're learning something new and you're not from that industry, the best thing you could do is meet people that works in industry that have a lot of experience and learn from them. So for example, what I did when I started my new job is that I went through all the departments of the company. I talked to all the person in charge, everyone from the team, understanding, what is the role they're playing, what are they doing, daily, what is their mission in the company. Obviously, you can't be talking to 100,000 people, but just target people that you think might be crucial in your learning process and try to meet a lot of different people. I also suggest you to go on different networking events. So look for different events around your town, events that are happening in this industry, and just register, even if it's a webinar, for example, and meet people. Just ask them questions. Tip number 5, it is what I said on tip number 4, is to ask a lot of questions and be curious. So if you're not curious, what's the point of learning? You really need to be asking questions. And my actually tip regarding that is to be the most wide possible and the most open possible. So when you ask a question, think about it as a way for you to get information from that person as much as you can. So don't just ask a yes or no question, really be kind of open. So for example, if you ask someone, so what is your mission? What are you doing daily? What are your objectives? How is everything working? What is the process? Try to be really open and ask a lot of questions, because if you don't ask those questions, you never get those answers and you'll be again frustrated in your learning journey. So try to really be proactive in that and be as much curious as possible. Tip number 6, practice out loud. It's really important, and it has been really helpful actually for me when I was rehearsing, presentation, when I was going through some notes. I actually practiced out loud, pitching, the solution, pitching the things. So I help my mind understand, how it works, the process, and the fact that I practice it out loud helps me to see if I understand what I just learned. Because if I practice it out loud and I see that actually I don't really understand, that I might be, not really fluent, or I might be, might be a bit, difficult for me to explain. So try to do that exercise by practicing out loud what you just learned and see if it goes fluently. If it's just fluent, and it means, wow, actually your brain understood everything and you're now able to process it. Tip number 7, teach someone else. So after you practice it out loud, teaching what you just learned to someone else will help you actually see if you understood what you just learned. And it also helps the other person to see if, the way you're teaching that person, if what you're saying makes sense, and if that other person is able to understand you. So teaching to another person will help you reinforce what you just learned, and also help you make other people understand what you just said. Tip number 8, be practical, meaning try to implement a mental picture of what you just learned. So it's really important in the sense of if you learn something, for example, I'm a really visual person, so when I learn something, I like to associate what I learned with a mental image. So I always try to find something really specific, a case study, something that really will help me put that mental picture regarding a specific subject I've learned. So regarding the construction industry, for example, I've been to different construction sites. I've seen actually what we are doing and how we're implementing our solutions on a site, for example. So for me, it was really important to go out there and see what we are doing, associate, words with a mental image. Tip number 9, find case studies. So it's really important when you learn something new that you associate what you learn with something, with implementing it in real life. So for example, when I'm learning about construction industry and the solutions we are bringing, I want to try to work on a case study because I want to see how actually in a real life context our solutions are using it. So whether you're learning a new subject or whether you're learning a new job, try to always find case studies for you to put a context on what you are learning. I'm sure this will help you. Last tip I want to give you, and really important, is to sleep, take a rest, and process what you've learned. So it's really important, and even research have shown that taking a break, resetting yourself, and sleeping is really helpful learning something new. It's when where memory really works. So sleeping is really important. Don't just constantly learn and non-stop, take a break, go out there, have, a workout session, and just process what you've learned. This will really be helpful, I'm sure. I really hope you like this video. I hope these tips were really useful, because this has been really useful in my journey. Don't forget to share with me maybe another tip you have in the comment section below. And now we'll see you soon on another episode of Milestone.